I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Happy Saturday! I thought that I would share my warm-up routine with you guys, a realistic warm-up routine. In real time, I am getting ready to do some remote recording today here in my home studio in Las Vegas. So let's just get started. I thought that I would do a warm-up where you have maybe a little bit of time, not a huge amount of time. When I started practicing the cello when I was learning growing up, I would actually warm up for at least an hour and a half. I know that's really extreme, but I would do an hour of scales and then 30 minutes of other exercises before I even started practicing other material. But you know, again, it's a little bit extreme, and I don't have the time to do that myself anymore as an adult and as a working person. So I'm going to share some of my favorite tips for warming up your left hand to your fingering hand, your right hand for your bow arm, as well as some general physical warm-ups that I think is super important to do. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and start with that first. If you guys are at your desk or somewhere where you can sit, you can follow along. For me, I watch a lot of exercise and stretching videos, and I love it when the instructor goes in real time, because it's kind of hard to try to copy and follow along when they're just doing everything super fast. So let's just start with a few really important basic stretches. Now, first of all, when you play the cello, you should be trying to find a chair where your feet, I know you can't see my feet right now, but they should be flat on the ground if possible, with your here, the upper part of your legs at a slightly downward angle. And a lot of cello players, if you are an advanced player or a beginning player, be warned, because a lot of cello players and other musicians end up getting physical problems, including myself, because it is not natural to be making these, weird movements that we make all day long. I do have a herniated disc in C5, C6, so for me it is extremely important to warm up my entire body before I start practicing or performing, because that's how I ended up injuring myself permanently, is because I would not warm up enough. Okay, so one of the best things that we can do starting to warm up is obviously to warm up our fingers and our arms. So I've showed this one before in a previous video, but it's very simple. So you just hold out your hand. You can follow along if you'd like. You can do this even if you're not a musician. This is great for, if you have carpal tunnel or work a lot on your computer, anything that has to do with your fingers and hands, which is everybody nowadays. Okay, so hold out your hand, and then you're gonna pull, not too hard, but pull to the point where you feel a good stretch right here. And for me, I actually like to incorporate some leg as well, because I get very tight underneath here from sitting for so long playing the cello. Okay, you hold that, and then you just alternate back and forth, however long. I usually do it for about a minute. Okay, so you do that back and forth and hold it a little bit longer than this, just to get your wrists and your tendons warmed up a bit. Okay, and then back stretches. So there's two ways that you can do this. If you want to do it just sitting in a normal chair, I have a backless chair, a keyboard bench, but if you want to put your right hand, I think this might be backwards, or maybe it's not, right hand on your the outside of your left knee, you take your left hand and you hold the back of your chair or the side of your chair, and you just kind of turn all the way back, bring your eyes to the back of the room, and you should feel a nice stretch in your spine. Okay, and then other side. So left hand, outside of right knee, right hand, back of the chair. And just stretch all the way back, look to the back of the room. Great, because all of our foundation, when we're exercising, when we're playing the cello, everything comes from the core. So you want to make sure that your core and your back is nice and relaxed before you start trying to do crazy stuff. Another variation on that is you open. So you can also do this standing. So if you go into a very deep sumo squat, or you can do it on the chair. So you open up the inside of your knees like this with your hands, and then you're going to press and just look upwards. So you should feel a nice twist in your back. Same thing, we're going to alternate. So if you're just getting warmed up like I am, you don't want to go too extreme because you might hurt yourself. So when you're just warming up, this is nice and gentle stretches with a lot of movement to prepare your body for some hardcore cello playing. Okay, you do that for as long as you want. And then neck circles, which for me is super important because I have a lot of neck, obviously neck issues from the herniated disc. So one tip to deepen your neck stretch, if you tilt your head to the left and then stretch out your right arm. Oh my gosh, I feel it a lot already all the way down my arm because I'm very, very tight. Okay, and you can deepen it even more by taking the hand, the opposite hand, and just pressing a little bit, not too hard, but just letting gravity pull your neck in the opposite direction of the outstretched arm. It's really weird. I'm actually feeling it a lot in my inner elbow. Okay, same thing on the opposite side. Rambo's moving the trash cans in. I can hear him outside. Okay, great. If you guys are following along, please leave a comment. Let me know. I can kind of see. I'm a little far from my phone right now, but hi guys. Hi Angelina. Okay, great. All right, so we did the finger exercises, stretched out our legs a little bit, did our back, did our neck. All right, here we go. Okay, so when I am in a major time crunch and I need to get warm up fast, pretend, I have a concert coming up, I'm getting ready to go on stage and I did not warm up. So this is what I do. I do all of my physical stretches. Some of them I do some back bends sometimes to get even more extreme depending on what I'm doing. So physically you need to make sure that you're at least pseudo warm. My favorite warm up now for the right, oh my gosh, this is not my right hand, you guys. My left hand, for your fingering hand, I'm going to get a little bit closer to the camera so you can see. Okay, if you need to write this down, you can write it down, but it's not that hard to remember, and I'm gonna start slowly. If you don't have your instrument with you, just go like this, and you can do it on your, or if you play guitar, I guess you can go this way. You can just practice on a hard surface or on your instrument, okay? So the finger pattern for this finger warm-up that I promise you will warm up your fingers very quickly and also help you practice technique is this. 1, 4, 3, 4, 1, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so those are the two patterns, and we're gonna put it together. So it's 1, 4, 3, 4, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 4, 3, 4. Now, what on earth does that mean? That means when you take these fingers and you put them on the cello, I like that my nail polish is making it stand out for you guys. That's totally why I painted my nails blue. Okay, 1, 4, 3, 4, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 4, 3, 4. One more time, okay? 1, 4, 3, 4, 1, pizza. Mama's busy right now. Okay, so. If you are watching this live, you obviously won't be able to pause this just to work on that first, but if you're watching it later, you can pause the video and try to get the pattern down. Don't worry about the bow hand right now. We're just focused on warming up one entity at a time, so our left hand. Okay, so as you get used to it, we're gonna start speeding up. Okay, so obviously it's going to take a little bit of time to get to that speed, but it is really, really helpful because now it basically covers all the different combinations, not all of them, but almost all of them that you can run into when you play a piece of music. And like that quickly, my fingers are feeling a lot less icy than they were before. So it really just makes your fingers work in different patterns. And then, thank you guys. Oh, thanks for your very nice comments. Hi. Okay, now for those of you wondering when we are going to pay attention to our right hand, so to the bow hand, I'm going to back my chair up just a little bit so you can see it. Now this warm-up is, again, super simple. You might be like, oh, this is super simple. That's the entire point, because we're just focused purely on technique and making sure that we have good form. So for my students, I always say, think chicken arms, relaxed, bok bok chicken arms. So everything needs to be, you know, we don't want like weird clenching, or, I mean, once in a while when you're playing up really high, you have to make that position, but your neutral position when you play the cello should just be, I'm confident, I'm sitting up straight, but I'm relaxed, and everything is a relaxed chicken pose. So, okay. Now, the pattern for the right hand, we are going to start from a lower string. You can do whatever combination you want, but just to start, we're going to do two bows down up on the lower string, and then 2 bows down up on the upper string. Again, you can use any string combination, but for right now, if you're following along, let's start with the D string and the A string. So that's this string, and then the little tiny string on the outside. Okay, so we're gonna go. Sounds like, right? Okay, so just over and over. I'm just going to add in my fingers because they're already warmed up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go back. 3, 2. This is really, really good for starting to warm up your right shoulder, your arm, and also to just remember good technique, right? And you can practice in front of a mirror or to look at your arm to make sure everything is in a straight line as much as possible. Straight, straight. We don't want, you know, weird, I don't know, just weird monster position. So very, very calm, relaxed chicken position. Oh my gosh, I'm so weird. Sorry, guys. Okay, so as you practice this and warm up, and you can go faster and faster, but do not go faster before you can play it cleanly slower, okay? That's a big no-no. So eventually, this is what it's going to get to. Okay. But in order to get there, you have to start slow. And this is what I did every day for an hour and a half before I started practice for 8 hours a day total. So it takes a lot of time. I'm not just saying that to show off. I'm just telling you that to tell you the reality of needing to practice slowly and carefully, because if you don't do that, you will never get to the high speed in a very clean manner, okay? So how do I get to that speed? Exactly what I just showed you guys. In fact, I would start even slower. So little tiny movements, precise. You can just do it even without the fingers. And then I would just practice it going faster and faster and faster. And if you allocate, honestly, even 5 to 10 minutes a day as part of your warm-up, not only are you warming up, you are also at the same time practicing technique to be able to play faster, I guess fast staccato notes. And just, there are other videos that I will do that focus specifically on these different techniques and other videos that I've done before that you guys should check out here on my channel. However, just remember, when you are starting to play faster, if you find your entire arm moving, you're doing it wrong, because that's going to cause a lot of pain in your shoulder, and also it's just not physically possible for your body to, you know, keep playing this fast for a really long time. What it wants to come from, again, the relaxed movement. It's basically, I mean, not this crazy, but basically it's just this shaky movement from the wrist, but a little bit more controlled. So if I hold the bow here, I'm not using my entire arm like a freaking out robot. I'm it should be a very, very loose movement. Again, it's easy for me to say because I've been doing this for so many years and it took me a lot of practice to figure this out. But you guys have to just try to remember to stay super, super relaxed when you play, because that's like the number one thing that I see in cello students is that everything is so tight and like, ugh, and then, you know, they complain about having pain. It's because it needs to be loose as possible. I'm not going, right? So it's a very, very light, like marshmallowy kind of. Okay, so I have explained my favorite right hand exercise, my favorite left hand exercise, and finally, we are going to go to the exciting scales. I know a lot of people don't like to practice scales because it's boring, and I also found it boring, but it is very, very helpful. If you have the time to spare, I guess right now, hopefully, if you do have the time to spare, try to allocate at least 30 minutes. Again, I used to do a lot. I would play through every scale there is in harmonic and all those other variations when I would be practicing. I don't do that anymore because of time. But if you can at least do the major and minor scales, that would be super helpful just to warm up. So what I like to do is to do a variation of bowing techniques, because I like to do more than one thing at the same time. So I try to find exercises that kind of work on multiple things at the same time once I have my hands warmed up. Okay, so if you take a simple C major scale, I'm just gonna go 2 octaves to save time, but usually I go, you know, all the way up to the end of the fingerboard. So let's start with the C major. All right, are you ready, guys? Let's go. Okay. Legato. You can do vibrato if you'd like, if you're practicing vibrato, which is the... But for me, I like to try to practice my muscle memory and not cheating, because sometimes when you vibrate, it makes it a little easier to fudge the tuning. And as you can see, we play fretless instruments, so it's very, very important that the tune, that your fingers are in exactly the right place. And for me to keep myself honest, I like to do scales with no vibrato at all. Another thing, so if you find yourself playing the wrong, if you're a little bit out of tune, do not correct it and keep going. So a lot of people do that. They go, no, because all you're learning is how to play it wrong. You are teaching your body to do, literally to do the wrong thing. So if you make a mistake, it's okay. It's totally cool. You know, breathe, stop, start over. Stop, start over. It doesn't matter if it takes you an hour to get through one scale. If you don't stop and start over, you are practicing. You're literally doing like even worse than not practicing at all, because you're practicing the wrong thing. And then every time in the future you try to play something, you're gonna play out of tune, and then you're gonna wonder why do I suck? Sorry, not suck. Why do I play out of tune? It's because you're practicing the wrong thing. So you have to force your fingers to remember, because it's all muscle memory. You have to remember exactly where it goes, right? Okay, so start with long bows. Sorry, I keep going off on tangents, but there's so many little things. So, okay, I'm gonna stop at 1 octave because there's too many other things I want to talk about. All right, so you're gonna do that, maybe with a metronome, very, very slowly. As slow as possible, trying to remember to have smooth bow changes, and also to keep the same pressure. So because the tip of the bow, a lot of times in students, I find that it gets weaker. You don't want it to sound like you're at the tip. It should be, you shouldn't be able to tell audibly that you're at the end of the tip. So you just practice on making everything as smooth as possible. Now, after you do your long bows, however you want, I usually start super, super slow, then I get a little faster, and then you can practice different bowing techniques, right? You could do slurred bows, you could do 2 notes to a bow, for example. Triplets. 4. Eventually, you could do the whole thing in one, just whatever variations you feel like you need to practice, maybe something that you have a weakness in, a certain bowing technique, you can practice that. And then also the short stuff, right? Double. And I mean, this is getting a little crazy. I could go on forever, but there's a lot of different variations. Especially, I find a lot of classical players, not all of them, of course, but sometimes, I don't know, I think because in classical music there is a lot of this push and pull, which is great, which is what makes a piece of music musical. For example, if you're playing Mary Had a Little Lamb and you played it exactly to metronome, it would sound... which is fine, but it's not very like, you know, like, I mean, I don't know if Mary Had a Little Lamb is supposed to be romantic, but having a little bit of push and pull, and also in the way, of course, that you finger everything, but... Okay, so you see how I kind of sped up and slowed down a little bit? I think I have a theory that maybe this is why sometimes when classically trained musicians try to groove and they try to play more rhythmical things, it gets a little bit funky, or maybe there's not as much groove. So that this is also the perfect opportunity when you warm up to get your groove on, right? So if you have a rhythm like... You can go on forever and ever. And I think by the time that you're done doing all these various exercises, you should be good to go and be ready to, like what I'm going to do, which is do a remote recording session here from my studio with my puppies for a movie, or maybe you're practicing a concerto or whatever. So I hope this really helps out. I have some other warm-up tips as well, but I wanted to keep this pretty short. I have no idea how long I've been talking for. So I'm going to pull up a little bit closer now and maybe answer some of your questions live for a few minutes. Oh my gosh, I've been talking for 23 minutes is not too bad for a warm-up. Yes, any questions that people have, feel free to ask. So let me see if I can see. Okay, I don't know how to do this on my phone, so I think I can see your guys' comments. Adriano Jameson says, ha, ha, ha. Yes, ha, ha, ha. Okay, anyone else with any warm-up questions? Feel free to ask them now or forever hold your peace. Live chat. Oh, here we go, okay. Someone said that sounded like Michael Jackson. Yay, Michael. Let me see. Oh, Eric, thank you. That's a very kind comment. However, that is not true at all. So he's saying it's magic. Practice goes a long way, but it will never outpass your talent. You guys, there's no such thing as talent. When I hear that, I'm like, oh, just like every other person that does anything, I think at a high level, when you tell them, oh, you're so talented, that's just not true. Anyone, I mean, if I had spent 8 hours a day, every day practicing basketball, I'm 5'3" 3/4", but I round up to 5'4". If I practice that every day from the age of 7 years old, that's when I started the cello at 7 years old, for 8 hours a day, every day minimum, I guarantee you I would be dunking, I'd be jumping really high. I can't do any of that. So it's completely true. So if you want to excel at something, you have to take the time to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's cool. But it is, I mean, obviously everybody has certain little things that they maybe are a little bit more, that comes a little bit more naturally to them, but there is no such thing as just talent making somebody good at something, because it really takes a lot of time. And I will tell you that I sucked a lot at the cello and also at violin, which I started before the cello for a very long time before things started clicking. So practicing is the only way to, I guess, the path of cello rock outness. Okay, so Magnus says, how much does a really expensive cello cost? There are cellos that are worth millions. I mean, Yo-Yo Ma has beautiful instruments that are worth millions. Mine is not quite as much. It's in the six-figure range, but I do own it. You know, I bought it and paid it off, I think about 6 years ago. So I love my cello. He is from 1880, and this is my electric cello, which is a baby. White Walker is very young. He's only, I think, a year or 2 years old. Okay. Gabriel says, I've been playing for 4 months and I find myself squeezing my left thumb while playing. Like that? Okay, yes, I know what you're talking about. So I think what you're referring to is the what do you call this? Like collapsed thumb underneath. So pretend this arm is the fingerboard, right? And you kind of have this like kind of tight, a tight sandwich kind of look. You just have to remember, same thing as playing piano, because when I played piano, my piano teacher, when I was 3 years old, I remember would put a golf ball underneath my hand to try to keep everything circular and soft, right? So it's the same thing. If you find yourself getting tight on your left hand or your right hand, Gabriel, hi Wendy, you just have to shake, right? Make sure everything's loose, and then just try to put it onto the instrument and don't squeeze. If it's something that you're used to doing, it's really hard to break these habits because we're used to them. Just go like this and keep going. Go like this and keep going. Even if you have to do it like every 5 seconds, just keep doing it until you can get your arm and your hand used to being relaxed and rounded. And this thumb should never be pressing hard against it. You shouldn't need to press it hard at all. If you have to, also try practicing just playing with your thumb, just hanging off just a little bit to get used to it. I wouldn't do it all the time, but just to get to the point where you find your little thumb not squeezing and collapsing really hard. So it's really from just too much tension. And yes, these exercises will also work for violin, you know, as far as like general looseness, and then the bow techniques and the right hand, left hand, it's all the same. I mean, slightly different how you hold it, but you can definitely use these for other instruments as well. Okay. Let me see. What phone camera, tripod, and light are you using? I am using my iPhone. I have an iPhone X, the smaller one. And then the little tripod is on my Amazon list, you guys. There's a link below this video. If you just go to amazon.com/shop/Tina Guo, literally everything that I use in my home life, for music, everything is on there. So it's even separated into like categories like kitchen, workout wear, stuff like that, musical instrument gear, studio gear, office gear, so you just go check that out. Okay, let's see. Please, Akshay, hi, says, please tell us about the struggle in playing cello at the initial days and what keeps you so motivated and charged up all the time. I think my general motivation is just to always want to improve myself, because I believe that we are here on this earth one time, in this lifetime, or however you want to look at it. But for me, I don't know what's going to happen. We can believe whatever we want. We can believe whatever makes us feel good and can give us, you know, the energy or the motivation to keep moving forward. But for me, it's I guess it's a very humanistic way of looking at things. But I believe that we are here now. If we're right or wrong about what we think is going to happen in the future, it doesn't matter, because all we have is what's in the moment. And my goal is to try to become the best that I can possibly be in every single way before I die. So that's my motivation. I love the feeling of achieving something. I love, like, for example, I've been on this diet as well, this fitness journey, and I had I gotten really out of shape when quarantine first started. I was eating pizza from Domino's, my favorite, every single day, like every day, only once a day, but every day. I wasn't exercising at all, and I was gaining weight, and all my clothes are getting really, really tight, and I got up to 130, and so I told myself, you know what, I have to stop. This is getting crazy. I want to be in the best shape that I can be in, especially because I'm turning 35 soon, and that's not old by any means, but I'm like 5 years away from being 40 years old. So it's the same type of mentality that I put towards my work, towards my music. I just really want to try to be the best that I can be and take advantage of this amazing opportunity to really be alive and to have access to so many different things. Like here on YouTube, you can learn so many different things. There's so many courses online that you can take. I just started my class at Harvard Business School for negotiation 2 days ago. So I'm doing a course in that, and it's really, really amazing if you just choose to focus on what opportunities are out there and what you're interested in. Because I was talking with a friend about this yesterday, but really quickly, there's no such thing as heaven on earth, right? Everything in the world, there's always going to be a balance of good and bad, you know, good and evil, really happy times and really shitty times. So it's always, life has always been like that, you know. And when people say like, oh, you know, stuff is getting worse, it's not getting worse, you know. In a lot of ways it's getting better. Maybe certain things are brought to light because they're filmed now and people have cameras, and you know, so we see them. But terrible things have been happening all the time. I mean, think of all the wars and terrible famine and diseases, you know, before there was modern medicine. So honestly, it's pretty good to be living in the year 2020 right now. But I think it's really a waste of your life and your energy to not try to take advantage, or at least explore all the different possibilities that are out there. So sorry, that was a very long-winded explanation, but I think my motivation just comes from wanting to be better, you know, wanting to be the best at something, wanting to be better, and competing against myself. Okay, all right, let's see. I've missed a million other comments. Okay, someone says, how can I do 32 notes in one bow? My teacher told me to practice it, but most I could do is 25. Should I keep the, sorry, this is not, I should probably do this on my computer. Should I keep the angle as small as possible when crossing string? 32 notes in one bow. I think that's what I did. It's just practice. You just have to maybe move your fingers a little bit faster. Let me make sure I know what I'm talking about before I just ramble on. Hold on. 32 notes, guys. All right, 1, 2. So that's, what is that, 4 octaves? So 2 octaves up, 2 octaves. Okay, you can't see my bow. I have to go back. All right, are you ready? You can do it in half a bow, actually. I think what it comes from is just the speed of your fingers, right? However, as you can see, I just did it playing it slow as well. So try to make I guess smaller movements with your bow without. So the best practice for that, my dear friend, my cello playing friend, is exactly what I showed you guys earlier for practicing the long notes, the legato bow for the scale, because you're thinking, oh, that's so boring to hold it for 30 seconds or whatever. Oh my God. But that is what leads to you being able to go right in one bow. So just practice. Don't even worry about your left hand, actually. Just practice playing very smooth, long bows on the right hand. Right? And you asked about the angle between the strings. Honestly, I mean, the distance, you guys, if you look at the cello, the distance is so micro, it's so small. I don't think that's really the issue. I think, I don't know because I can't see you playing right now, but I think the main issue and the concern is trying to maintain a very smooth bow, and the longer you can hold it, the better, because as you can see, you can do even up, 64 notes or something in one bow with this hand once this is fast enough. But it's really about being able to hold the bow long enough, because then you can squeeze in however many notes you can fit. Okay, all right, let's see. Let's do a couple more questions, and then I actually need to go do the stuff I need to do. Let's see. What music piece will require 32 notes with one bow? Probably a lot of them. I mean, you can play anything you want with a lot of bow. You can even do Flight of the Bumblebee with instead of staccato, you can do it all in one bow. Someone keeps asking if I use FL Studio. I have no idea what that is, so I don't know. So no. Let me see. Oh, people are asking about right hand or left hand. You guys, everybody plays the cello and the violin the same way, okay? So I don't know if this video is backwards, but my left hand, just like everyone else, is the fingering hand, and the right hand is the arm that does the movements. I think, honestly, instruments are ambidextrous because both arms and both hands are doing a lot of different things. You're plucking also with your right hand. So it's not really like there's only one hand doing all the work, like if you're right-handed writing or left-handed writing. So when people ask right or left hand, I mean, it's kind of both anyway, but I do play cello just like every other cellist and violinist and violist in the world. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go. Oh, thank you, Colin. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Hi, Sam. Hello, Adriano. Hello, Angelis. Let me see. Hi, Prime 50511984. Let's see. I use Logic. I highly recommend Logic. Logic X is a DAW, so that's a system that you can use to record, like Pro Tools or the new Luna program from Universal Audio. Let me see. How long is enough warm up when you don't have a lot of time? Honestly, sometimes I will do that left and right hand warm up that I showed you guys in like 60 seconds. That's it. So I'll just do it really, really quick. But if you have to start practicing, your actual practice can also serve as warm up. Just try to at least, stretch a little bit, like the stuff I showed you guys earlier. That'll prevent injury and get you warmed up. And it's totally worth it just to take a couple minutes to do that. Okay. And then last question that I will answer. Oh, actually, can you play the John Williams Superman theme? I can't remember right now. I know it's really beautiful because I've played it before and I love it. I'll do it for you guys next time, okay? And also, don't forget, on Monday, it's Metal Monday, so I will be playing my Final Fantasy VII track from the Game On album. It's not all metal. The beginning is very, very pretty. We go through all my favorite themes from the music of Final Fantasy. And then there is a bit of some metal stuff in the middle. So please come back at 12 o'clock on Monday. Yay. Okay, last question from Orochi. Do you play any wind instruments? I kind of play the Native American flute. I'm obsessed with Native American culture. I'm obsessed with a lot of things, but I do really, really love Native American culture. And I have 3 native flutes that I got on Navajo Reservation in Monument Valley. And I hope to be able to go back soon because I love it so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. Sorry, this actually ended up being a lot longer than I originally intended, but I hope you found some of these warm-ups useful, whether you are a musician or maybe you just do a lot of work on the computer, a lot of those arm stretches. And I mean, honestly, it's just healthy to stretch and loosen up your body before you really start making any repetitive movements like cello playing. Okay, hey Chris, hi Marco, hi guys, thank you so much for being here. I will see you soon. If you have any other suggestions or questions for future cello tutorials or any other type of tutorial, leave a comment below, not here in Super Chats, because once this live video is over, it's all gone. So if you can go to the comment below, like the video if you liked it, and then leave a comment and I'll get back to you guys, okay? Take care, I will see you soon. You're welcome, bye. Bye, bye, bye.